Shanti. Mrs. Prasada Rao, dear Uday and friends. I have known Dr. Prasada Rao for more than 25 years or so. I know him not that closely when he was appointed the director of the Indian Institute of Petroleum. But being in Indian Oil's Research and Development Center, I know as a organization, parallel organization, Dr. Mukhopadhyay was our director and he became director at Indian Institute of Petroleum. The closeness between the two institutes grew at that time. And as an outsider, I could see the significant progress at Indian Institute of Petroleum, as Dr. Prasad said, that many of the problems were resolved at that time in Indian Institute of Petroleum on IR side or employee relation side. But I remember Mr. Gandhi is here, with whom I had a long association from the days I joined Indian Oil, and he was working in the engine side, although he was a chemistry and chemical engineering side and petrochemical side, but he had taken so much of interest and made the significant progress on the engine side also, which was my area. So I know that he had made tremendous contribution to the Indian Institute of Petroleum. My relationship with Indian Institute of Petroleum also goes to the extent that I had joined Indian Oil, and 1 year training I was deputed there for during 1977. But later on, when he became director, there was tremendous change which was brought about in the Indian Institute of Petroleum. And 4 years back, I was the chairman of the Research Council of IIP, and I went back. The first thing when I was appointed as the chairman of the Research Council of IIP, I called up Dr. Prasada Rao and took his guidance on how to go about and how to, contribute on the contributions or build up on the contributions which he had made long back. Having said that, that's about Indian Institute of Petroleum. And when I went there for the Research Council meetings, I could see the people in Indian Institute of Petroleum, those who are in senior leadership at this point of time, remembered him. And the kind of respect which he had got amongst the various directors who had preceded him or succeeded him, I think remarkable respect I could see in people over there. And the driver who drove me from the airport to the Indian Institute of Petroleum guest house also talked about him. And then I immediately, while in the car, I called him up. I said, this driver of Indian Institute of Petroleum is also remembering you. And I also know when he had been staying in Dwarka, the old driver of his at IIP, after his retirement, was working for him here in Dwarka. That's what he told me. And later on, when he was in Delhi, we had our friendship had grown. I would not call friendship. He was my mentor or guide. I was a middle-level officer at that time when he was director. And then he used to come when I was maybe general manager or executive director at Indian Institute before I joined the board of IOC. And he used to tell me, Malhotra, you have to be one day lead this organization. So you do this, you do that. And he used to give a lot of guidance, which I still remember. And when I was director R&D of Indian Oil, he used to come very often, and we used to have useful interactions. And I would say that he was a great guide, great mentor, a great human being, people's person, always. And till recently also, he used to call every 2 months or 3 months. When I was in the Federation of Indian Petroleum Industry, he could call up from Hyderabad, and my daughter is there. He used to tell me, whenever you come next. But unfortunately, during the pandemic, I couldn't go to Hyderabad. And I had promised him that I will meet, but the fate was that he will not be there when I visit Hyderabad next time. So I pray to the God that such a noble soul must rest in peace, and may God give strength to the Mrs. Rao, Prasada Rao, and the entire family to bear this such an irreparable loss of such a good human being. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of my thoughts with you.